Hi everyone, welcome back to Kristine Szabo Raw. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here, especially today as we're going to cover a really important subject of medications. I know a lot of questions have been coming in regarding should I take medication, should I not take medication, I was on medication, now I'm not on medication, do you take medication? And so I'm here to talk today about my personal experience with medication, negative experiences, positive experiences, and where I am today with it. So these are all from my house right now, okay, and we'll get to that in a minute. I'm gonna push them aside as I tell my story. So let's see, as you know, I was born with a father who had struggled with mental illness and committed suicide when I was 10 years old. And it left me with consequences of my own mental instability. And in the past episodes, I talked deep in that about eating disorders and depression, anxiety, addictions, and all that left me with. And in my early adult life, when I was 21 years old and I was put into an eating disorder clinic in Sydney, Australia, because I was 98 pounds, which is 30 pounds lighter than I am today. Today I'm 5'9" and I weigh about 125 pounds. I fluctuate between 125 and 130, depending on the season, depending on the celebrations and all of that. But I live a pretty healthy life today. Actually an awesomely healthy life today. But back then I was 98 pounds. So if you can kind of imagine, that's like taking my dog Sombra and taking it off of my body. I was a skeleton. And I was very, very sick. I didn't know at the time, but I was not only starving my body, but I was starving my brain. My brain was not getting the proper nutrients it needed to function properly. And back then, they didn't educate us in the eating disorder clinic about what it takes to feed the brain. I think that there wasn't enough education out there back then. That was a very long time ago. Now we have a more progressive approach to feeding the mind, but back then they didn't. So all of this that I've learned through the decades has been my self-discovery, my avid seeking and passion to be better, to want to be better, to be greater, and to have, like I have today, ultimate mind health so I can make clear, conscious decisions based on health and wellness and a healthy mindset. So in the eating disorder clinic in Australia, that was the first time that a psychiatrist prescribed me on some sort of medication. I don't remember exactly what those medications were. I do know Xanax was involved. I believe Prozac was involved. I did not have the support and the tools and the right medical care to have those medications take care of me properly the way that I needed them to. It was not good. I had a lot of side effects. I even partied with some of the drugs. I didn't take them properly. And so through the next decade of my life, I experienced, periods of stability where I didn't need the medication. For example, I was in an awesome 7-year relationship with a wonderful man who brought out the best in me, and I didn't have medication. We lived a super awesome life. I was modeling mostly in New York, building a home, had four dogs, 3 cats, and it was awesome. When that relationship ended, not based on, massive fighting or, self-sabotaging behaviors, it ended because we found ourselves 2 people moving apart in different areas of our life. I wanted something else, he wanted something else. And so I bounced into a relationship with someone who triggered in me my abandonment issues, which stemmed from a father committing suicide and leaving me feeling not worthy enough for someone, a parent, to live for. Now that's very deep, and I know that in our first topics of self-awareness, I asked all of you out there to go and please find and discover what it is for you that triggers your worst behaviors. For me, it's abandonment. And so when I went into that next relationship, which ended up being a marriage, my first and only marriage, as of today. I hope I'll get married one day, but right now that was my first and only. And I started again seeing a doctor, a psychiatrist, who started to prescribe me medications, one and then another and then another. And again, it was this, do you like this medication? I don't know, I feel this way. Okay, let's try something else. Let's try something else. Let's try something else. It wasn't, I believe, the medications. It was, I didn't have the medications with the right support and education around me to move forward healthily. So when I moved to Los Angeles, and as you know, that was when I had my ultimate lowest moment of a suicide attempt. I had been seeing a doctor here in Los Angeles, a psychiatrist, who prescribed me, again, one medication, two medications, three medications, that ended me up having a suicide attempt. Now, was it only because of the medications I had a suicide attempt? No, I was binge eating. I was not supported in a loving, healthy community. I had severe heartbreak from a relationship that I was, mourning. I was not honoring my highest self through having a strong faith or a strong purpose. The environment that I was living in was not conducive to who I love to be. And so all of these things were like the perfect storm. And I had a suicide attempt. I had an overdose. One night I came home and I had so much pain in my heart. I did not want to live anymore. Okay, it's not that I didn't want to live, because I had things in my life that I loved, like my beautiful dogs and, the ocean and friends, but I didn't know how to live with the pain anymore. I couldn't do it anymore. And so I didn't know where to turn. And that's why I'm here, by the way, because I want you people out there who feel like this, or feel that they know someone who feels like this, or maybe they feel that they could feel like this one day, and turn to me in this channel, and I am going to take you step by step out of feeling that way, so that you don't have to make the mistakes that I did. So when I woke up after my overdose at the hospital, and I was surrounded by a floor of doctors after 1 week being on the liver and kidney ward, where they said to me, wow, like, you really healed. Now, there's airplane noise, and there's woodpecker noise, and there's wind chime noise. I apologize, just wait a moment. They'll pass, because that's what life is. Life is noise. We have to wait for the noise to pass. We have to learn to find our patience and our trust that it will, and that the universe is going to take care of allowing the noise to move over us. Okay? Let it move through you, not to you. Through you, not to you. So back to the story. So these doctors said to me, wow, like, you've been here 1 week and you've healed yourself from an overdose. Your liver and your kidneys are 85% better in a week. And I explained to them, yeah, I've studied nutrition, and I knew that I had to not read off of the menu of, do I want a hamburger or a hot dog, but I chose to detox my body from the overdose by eating fresh fruits, juices, water, and cottage cheese. That was the choices I had in the hospital that I chose to heal myself from. And sure enough, within 2 days, my whole face started breaking out with like cystic acne from all the medication coming out through my skin. And within 5 days, I was clear. Within a week, my body was almost 100% better. And guess what? My mind was also feeling better. And I said to the doctors, you know as well as I do that I am here because I was on a cocktail of medications that did not serve me well. Because I was living in a little cottage in Venice Beach, which had Buddhas and positive affirmations that I had painted, and statues and peace signs, and even a little aquarium where the fish were so flourishing, they were having baby fish. And, you know, I live for love. I love love. But yet something was not right in my brain, that with the wrong medication and the wrong diet and the wrong support, it was actually making things worse and not better. So they normally, a hospital, after you have a suicide attempt, they're supposed to put you into a week of what they call like the psych ward. So you're in watch, right? You're supposed to go into a watch. It's for liability, it's for safety. But I don't know what it was. I was able to convince those doctors with such clear, sound truth, and showing them pictures of where I lived and what I loved, that they actually released me. They did not put me on the psych ward. They released me. And they released me, and look, I went straight back into that little cottage in Venice with my dogs, and I was on my own again. But I was on my own again, and I wasn't gonna take the medication anymore, okay? And I chose not to take medication at that time. What it did for me was I went into a Kundalini yoga teacher training program where I said, I am now gonna take 9 months of this training program, and I'm gonna pretend like I am pregnant for 9 months with myself, for myself in my body. And what does that look like for me? Well, that looked like not smoking, because I like to have 1 cigarette a day. That's like one of my vices. We'll talk about that later. You know, no going out, no relationships, no parties, no putting myself into experiences or situations that didn't honor my highest self. But what I did do was I joined this Kundalini community. I woke up in the mornings at 3:30 and I did sadhana and prayer to spiritual music and exercises and chanting. And I started to experience lower back pain from a sciatica because all of this Kundalini was churning up fire in areas of my body that were imbalanced. And one of those areas was in my lower back. And so I started to have to go on medication again for the pain management. Okay, bingo, another problem today is using medication for rapid pain management instead of facing what's going on, taking those things out of your life and refilling them with things that work. Now, I don't want to go on for a long time about that, but I do want to say that I ended up having back surgery, not only once, but twice. I got through that with grace because I knew I didn't want to become addicted to medication again because it scared me from the first time. And so I started to really be gentle on my body and start studying nutrition for the body, okay? As well as, many of you know, I was going through at the same time SPECT imaging brain scans and learning how to feed my brain. And now I knew I had this prolonged post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety and depression showing up in brain scans. So I had to learn how to not only feed my body, but feed my brain. And I was going through this amazing, like huge, gentle, slow, but very progressive healing of my body and my brain. And I got free of medication, of pain, and then I got pregnant. And I had my beautiful son. who I was able to give birth to at home with not even an Advil, thanks to the Kundalini training, my healthy body, and my healthy mind. But then a couple of years, 2.5 years into the relationship with the father of my son, it started to pose a lot of stress for me, a lot of stress. I feared that the father was going to take the child back to Italy and never return. And I was right. When my son was 3.5, he was taken by the father, and he was held in an undisclosed location from me for 40 days until the courts forced him back. During that period of the 2.5 years and the 3.5 years where I was undergoing this insurmountable stress of the fear of the relationship, not knowing what was going to happen, not knowing how to end the relationship, not being able to communicate in a healthy way to the father of my child, I started to take a medication. I had the luck or the blessing to meet a psychiatrist who I esteem to today, who is a wonderful, wonderful doctor. His name is Dr. Eric Levander. If any of you are in the Los Angeles area, and now I believe he can take patients worldwide, he is incredible. And his knowledge from medical to Eastern to being on the head of Cognitive Behavioral Therapy Board, he put me on a program of a very low dose of a serotonin booster, very low dose. In fact, I asked him to start me on such a low dose that it was even lower than what they start children on. Okay, it was like a 6.25 milligrams of Zoloft, and they had to do it in a compounding pharmacy. And I felt it because I was so clean that I did feel it. And yet, while I was on this low dose and incrementally, very gently building that dosage up, monitoring step by step if that was the right medication for me, through the care of Dr. Levander and doing an intensive workshop course of cognitive behavioral therapy where I would go every week for a group session and a personal private session with a therapist that would work through all of the tools that you need to learn of cognitive behavioral therapy and dialectal behavioral therapy developed by Dr. Marcia Lindham, who was also diagnosed as borderline personality disorder and today is esteemed, renowned for having created one of the most effective tools for overcoming emotional therapy. Okay, like learning how your emotions are triggered, how to observe them, understand them, and how to move through them, and how to live a very healthy, successful life. They call it living a life worth living, which is what I'm doing today. And so I want to continue on this story of medication and tell you that this program was a 6-month program, and I did this 6-month program twice in a row because that's me. I'm like an avid seeker and a perfectionist. Okay, so I did the course the first time. I was still in this volatile relationship that I didn't know what was going to happen to my son. I didn't know what was going to happen to my relationship. By now I was taking about 100 milligrams of Zoloft and then redid the course again. Thank God I did. Because at 3.5 months old, when my son was 3.5 months old, he was snatched out of the house, and I was dragged through the ugliest, most painful, scariest story that any mother can imagine, or one of them. I'm sure there are stories that are way worse than mine. I think mine is pretty up there, but it was awful. But I had the medication, and I had the education, and I had the health mind, body, and soul to go through it with not only absolute strength, determination, hope, and faith, but I had the ability to bring in the magic of the universe that supported me through that. Okay? Going back to medication, oh my gosh, I apologize for all my tangents, but there's so much and I want to get it all in there, but we have time, we have forever, and it will all come. But for medication, so by the way, today's my son's 8th birthday. So if that gives you a time frame, 3.5 years to 8 years, it's been, you know, the most incredible years now that my son and I are happy and together. Yes, we share custody, but we are definitely in a different place. So when my son was taken, my doctor, Dr. Levander, said to me, and he knew what I was going through because he was there writing to the courts letters of recommendation and referrals and, you know, whatever it is that a doctor-patient relationship has to endure during a custody nightmare, but a legal nightmare. But he said, I'm going to give you another 100 milligrams of Zoloft and even a booster. Buprazar. I can never say the word. It's like Buspar, Buprazar, or something like that, right? It's here in one of these jars that I have. Buspar. And I'm going to give you 60 milligrams of Buspar to support you through this time. And so he did. And I tell you, it worked. You know, I understood what the medication was doing for me. I recognized it gave me the ability to not be so reactive when trauma hit. I was able to take a mindful breath. I was able to make calm, intelligent decisions about everything that I needed to do at that time. Okay? Now, when I got my brain rescanned with the Amen Clinic a decade later after the first time, and they said to me, wow, congratulations, you've healed your brain. You don't have any more prolonged post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, or anxiety. Your brain looks amazing. Yes, you know, the doctor said, sorry for the chicken, by the way. I don't know if you guys can hear this. There's actually a rooster crowing in the back. Like, rooster, it's noon. What are you doing? Time for bed, or wake up, but not crowing. Anyway, he said to me, where was I? The rooster threw me. So, can you hear that crow? You know, China Phillips actually has an episode that she talks about her neighbor's rooster and how it's causing her lack of sleep. And I actually laugh because I love our neighbor's rooster. He's actually like one of the joys. So China, that's for you. Love you. Anyway, so when I got my brain rescanned and they said you're healthy, and the doctor recommended, you know what, when was the last time you had your hormone levels checked? Because, you know, you're approaching menopause, or maybe you're in menopause, and you might need some hormonal supplements to see if the very, very, very low level of anxiety that's remaining in your brain, it was practically diminished, but the very low level, if they actually, the doctor was very wise, it was a woman, she said, I think that just going on some hormones or checking your estrogen levels will help you eliminate, you know, any other anxiety that you have, and then you can absolutely go off your medication. I don't see why not. Working together with your psychiatrist, you can come off of it. I had also confirmation from my integrative doctor, Dr. Soram Khalsa, Khalsa. If any of you are also in Los Angeles, amazing, incredible doctor, a yogi Sikh, one of the best that I've ever met, incredible man. And he also supported me going off the medication. And so this last year, or now it's been over a year, but in the period, I stopped very gradually and very slowly. It wasn't like one day I said, okay, no more Boost Bar, and the next day, no more Zoloft. No, it was from 60 milligrams of Boost Bar to 30 milligrams of Boost Bar. Wait a month. Take away another 30. Wait another 2 months. Take away 25 milligrams of Zoloft. Wait a month. Take away another 25 milligrams. Wait a month. Take away another 25. You guys understand what I'm saying? And working every single day on mind health, body health, healthy lifestyle, healthy environment, healthy community, having my faith, having my purpose, and focusing in on the magic. With all of that, I was able to remove medications from my life. Okay? And that's what I want all of you to look at, the relationship with medication for you. It's like Dr. Levander said to me, I had a check-in with him the other day, and he said to me, because you guys, this isn't like you see a doctor and then, okay, thanks doc, bye. You want to work with a therapist, a psychologist, a wonderful psychiatrist, an integrative doctor, Western doctor. You want to establish a relationship with them that's going to be hopefully for a lifetime, because it takes having these relationships that's going to give you the best care going forward. You know the doctors know you, they have their charts, they make notes, they read their notes, they're not getting things in from other doctors, right? You want to establish these relationships with your network of healthcare professionals that work for you and that are viable for you, okay? And they're endless out there. Just because you meet one and you don't like them, don't give up. Meet another. Do you know how many psychiatrists I had to try before I fell in love with Dr. Levander? Like, I don't even want to say, maybe 12? I think 12. I got so sick of telling my story over and over again. Like, I just wanted to write it down and make a book so I could just give them the book already, right? But no, and Dr. Levander said to me the other day, he said, you know, I'm really proud of you, or whatever he said. I don't think he said I'm really proud of you. I just think he said, like, okay, you know, great. It's wonderful to see you're doing good. But he said, Kristine, it's like when you plant a garden. You plant your seeds, you water them, you feed them, you give them sunlight. You don't just walk away. You have got to tend to your garden every day. Even if it's just observing your garden, making sure your garden is getting the water it needs, making sure it's getting the nutrients it needs, making sure it's getting the sunlight it needs, making sure it's getting the love that it needs. And you are a garden, he said. Yeah, I am a garden. And you, each and every one of you, are a garden too. And whatever period it is that you're in your life right now, if you're coming out of a bad marriage, or if your husband is in memory care for Alzheimer's, or if you're struggling with an eating disorder, whatever it is, you use the tools that you need in an intelligent, mindful way to get you through this moment. You do it consciously, professionally, carefully, and you do it in connection with what you are learning on this channel and whatever others respected wellness coaches you have out there. I cannot stress that enough. Take this time to change your Instagram, your YouTube, your Facebook, your TV shows, your movies that you watch with things that are going to make you better, keep you better, and keep you making this world better. Like I do, and like I am. And I want to say thank you to my healthcare professionals out there. Some of them might hear this, some of them might not, but I have had so many incredible doctors and programs, teachers, leaders, trainers, educators, who have made me who I am today. And that is someone who broke the odds. And someone who can cut the suffering for my child so that he doesn't have to go through what I did. And for his children and for their children. And so on my son's birthday, I took this very in-depth, personal conversation about a subject that's very, very delicate in today's world. And I want to tell you thank you for respecting me and hearing my story. And thank you for taking with it everything that you need to make the right decisions for your life. We're going to go back to my kitchen soon. We still have mind health and brain health to talk about nutrition, what I keep in my kitchen around me to keep me in a solid mind. And then we have the whole piece of the pie to go through again and again and again and again. And we're gonna have so much fun. I'm so excited. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for following me on Instagram as I follow up on this every day. And I'm here for you in heart, in spirit, in consciousness. Peace out.
I am who I am, that is that. I am who I am, that is that. I am who I am, that is that. I am who I am, thank God I am. I am who I am, that is that. I am who I am, that is that. I am who I am, that is that. I am who I am, thank God I am. I am who I am, that is that. I am who I am, that is that. I am who I am, that is that. I am who I am, thank God I am. I am who I am, that is that.